Academy. This year especially, we have lots of what Dr. Carlson will say, scholars. We have scholars in many different fields. Scholars in many subjects that there are, both in general studies and Judaic studies. And especially we have a group that studies the Talmud daily with extra hours and puts in extra work. And we chose one of them as a class representative. And I think after his talk, I think you will also find out that he represents a group of scholars. So with that, I want to call up class representative Dovi Paltiel to give a talk, and please give him your attention.
Thank you for giving me the great privilege of representing the 8th grade graduating class of 2012. You know, stories told of a renowned speaker who was called upon to address the Yale University commencement ceremony. Graduates, he began, the name of your school itself should give you inspiration. Take the Y, for instance. Y stands for youth, and he proceeded to explain at great length the virtue of youth. A is for adventure, he continued, elaborating on the great adventures yet to come. L signifies the learning, which was never end, he preached, and continuing on with an elaboration that seemed to never end. And lastly, the E. The E stands for enthusiasm. He enthusiastically gave a lengthy explanation of its importance. In the background, one graduate could be heard quietly groaning, "Thank goodness we are not graduating from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology." Even given the 13 letters of Hebrew Academy, it would be hard to fully describe the life lessons that can be drawn from this amazing institution. The school has given me so much over the years, from my 2-year-old preschool class to the 8th grade. I would like to thank the dedicated administration, Rabbi Newman, the dean of the school, who I have always looked up to as a true role model. Coach Wilcoxon, who always encourages us to give us our all, with campouts and other things. Dr. Carlson, who amazes me in her ability to give personal attention to each and every student. And Rabbi Rapport, who has taught us to appreciate the values of Torah and Chassidus. I'd also like to thank my teachers, Ms. Flickstein, Dr. Todd, Ms. Jahanfard, Mrs. Suffren, Ms. Meter, Dr. Parks, Rabbi Berkowitz, and Coach Klausner. I would like to give special thanks to Rabbi Popak and gratefully acknowledge the significant influence Rabbi Naparstek has had on me. Thank you. And how could I forget my classmates who add so much spice and excitement into my life? And most importantly, I would like to thank the Lubavitcher Rebbe who founded the Hebrew Academy and so many other institutions like it. The first spiritual leader of Chabad, known as the Alter Rebbe, taught us, Mendaf lem mit der Zeit, which means we must live with the times. This is interpreted to mean that one should not only learn the weekly Torah portion, but live with it, understanding its relevant personal lessons, and incorporate them into our daily lives. In this week's Parsha, we learn the well-known story of the Meraglim, the spies. As the Jews in the desert near the land of Israel, they expressed their desire to send spies to scout out the land. After receiving God's consent, Moshe gave 12 prominent and righteous men the directive to, quote, see the land, the nations that dwell in it. Are they strong or weak? Are they few or many? How is the land in which they dwell? Is it good or bad? Etc. After 40 days, they returned, and 10 out of the 12 spies came back with the following report. We have arrived at the land in which you sent us, and indeed it flows with milk and honey. And these, they said, exhibiting the gigantic, luscious fruit that they had brought with them, are its fruits. However, the people that live in the land are powerful, the offspring of giants, and the cities are greatly fortified. We cannot stand against these people, for they are too strong for us. This report had a greatly demoralizing effect on the Jewish people, and not only did it remove any motivation and enthusiasm to enter the land, but also caused them to weep in despair. As a result, none of the people from that entire generation merited to enter the Holy Land. They died in the desert during the 40 years of wandering. The question that comes to mind is, why did the spies deserve such a harsh punishment? Didn't they faithfully report their findings? Weren't they asked to see the land? The answer lies in their concluding sentence. We cannot go up against these people. Moshe had not sent them to determine if the land was conquerable, for without a doubt, if Hashem had told them that they would enter the land, then certainly they would. What remained to be seen was simply how. Through what method and means it should be done. It wasn't their place to offer an opinion as to whether the challenge placed before them was surmountable. Rather, it was their privilege to help the Jewish people determine how to surmount it. The report demonstrated a lack of trust in Hashem's promise to the Jewish people. The result of their lack of faith was that, indeed, they did not enter the land. Had they believed and applied themselves to carrying out their mission, they would have entered the land in just a few days. As we graduate and head out into the big leagues, it's empowering to know that Hashem only places challenges before us because we have within ourselves the special abilities with which to overcome them. When we face them with faith in Hashem and recognize His faith in us, we can focus all our efforts into figuring out how to succeed. The Torah assures us that we will not only triumph as a result, but rise to greater heights in achieving our God-given potential to the fullest. This message from the Torah portion underscores a core value at the Hebrew Academy this year. It's a school that instills principles such as these that build strong character, confident achievers, and humble leaders of the Jewish people. It is my wish and blessing for myself and my fellow graduates that we should be a source of nachas to our families, community, and school, shining stars who have risen to the challenge of being the best we could be. May we all merit to enter the promised land together with the Moshe Rabbeinu of our generation, with the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days. Thank you.
No, this is not a high school graduation. Dovi, you did a wonderful job, and you just about took away what I was going to say.